Everything's easier for white people.
Yeah.
Being white makes everything easier.
Okay.
Literally.
Yeah.
There's not one aspect of life that I mean, except for being at the beach. And being in the sun.
Yeah.
Well, being at the beach, yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do shit at the beach that if a black person did it, you know what I mean? You know, your children can be at the beach flipping shit over, and people are like, oh, it's crazy kids. Well, let some black kids be at the beach cutting up like that. These fucking welfare moms. You know what I'm saying? It's a different thing. The police come. You know, everything's easier as a white person. Even what I'm saying, there's even privilege in me speaking out. You know what I'm saying? Like, white, it's just everything, you know? And so that's white people have always, as a group, you know, I'm generalizing, but that's what we're talking about, you know. So it's not true of everybody, obviously. No statement that you make about any group is ever going to be true of every individual in that group, and everybody's situation is a little bit different. But I think we'd be foolish to not acknowledge that you know, that things are just easier. There are challenges that don't exist when you're white. And as a group and as a general statement, white people have always loved when a white person can do what's traditionally understood to be a black thing. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, if a white guy's kicking ass at basketball, you know, he's just gonna love it. You know, you know, Adele. You know what I'm saying? Like, Adele sing her ass off, but you know, the fact that she's white makes white people be like, yeah, like whether we acknowledge it or not. You know what I mean? It just is the truth, you know. And so the question is, the question that white people have to ask themselves is, what has this done to me as a human being? Has me, you know, buying into this idea of whiteness and this idea of superiority, what has this done to me as a human being? Because if, you know, we have a situation, a very real situation that's 500 years old, where we see other people suffering and we benefit from other people's suffering, and those are human beings. But the fact that they're beings doesn't really touch us. So we've had to devalue what a human being is. And so by not recognizing or not really putting value in their humanity, what have we said about our own humanity at that point? You know what I mean? And what have we done to ourselves as humans? That, you know, we live in a very unnatural society, really unnatural existence that expresses itself in every single way. You know what I mean? That, like, nature isn't even considered when we do things anymore, you know. And we're bearing the effects of that. We've destroyed the planet. We've destroyed our relationships with each other. You know what I mean? All of this stuff. And I think that the suffering and, like, you know, you see people doing all kind of wild behavior, man, that comes from that. It comes from a loss of connection with what it means to be a human being and what it means to live in the world. And so it's absolutely necessary. And if white people who feel like they're enjoying the shit out of this ride, if that's not enough, then to just talk about what it means to be a human being. But, you know, recently we have more children of color are born in America than white people, so white people aren't going to be the majority for very much longer. And so the question becomes, well, what does it mean when we have a society in 20 years, when these children that are born now are adults, that for 20 years more than half of our society hasn't had access to the same education, the same health care, the same stress-free life, the same sense of self, the same sense of being valued and being beautiful and being, the same employment opportunities, hasn't had, felt like, that the system was against them, the criminal justice system, like, what's that going to mean when more than half the society is going through life like that? Like, man, the society is either going to get right or fail. It's either going to be what it says it is for everybody, or the shit's done.